and welcome to another episode of Rob's World of Boxing. Let's get it. Alright, let's get into this fight video. Talk about some fights that happened over the weekend. We'll talk about, some fights that happened over the weekend. There was only one card, though. Talk about some upcoming fights that's happening this upcoming weekend. It's only one card, though. And touch on a couple other things if we have time. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Like I said, it was only one card over the weekend of Saturday, April 29th. All right. The card transpired in Arlington, Texas. It was a DAZN card. In this case, DAZN was Golden Boy. Golden Boy is Oscar De La Hoya, all those guys. All right, came on at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The main event, well, before we get into the main event, let's talk about the co-main, if you want to call it that, the fight leading up to the main event. All right, it was a 10-round contest of featherweight. Featherweight is 126 pounds. If you didn't know, it was Diego De La Hoya versus Victor Morales. Diego De La Hoya was 24-1, 11 KOs. He is 28 years of age. Victor Morales was 17-0, 1 draw, 8 KOs. I ain't get his age. All right, Diego De La Hoya, if you didn't see or if you didn't find out, because in my pre-fight video I was unsure, but he is the cousin of Oscar De La Hoya, and this is like I said, a Golden Boy card. I wasn't sure if it was a match roam card, because usually DAZN is match roam, but this case, DAZN was Golden Boy. So let's get into it. All right, it was a slugfest to fight back and it was a back and forth contest. Freaking both fighters came out strong, not trying to lose, and not trying to take a step back, man. So it was a slugfest. Until it wasn't. De La Hoya got dropped in the second round from a left hand hook that left him, on his knee and left him leaking blood out his nose, out his eyes, everywhere. He was leaking. He actually ended up going down 3 times in the second round. That was the first time. He ended up going down a couple more times. He only went down one more time. Sorry about that. He only went down one more. That was the other fight. He only went down one more time. Both fighters, got beat up in the second round. So shit. And then he didn't get back up, Diego De La Hoya. So yeah, a second round KO win for Victor Morales, continuing his winning ways, keeping his O, and putting that second loss on Diego De La Hoya, man. Making the De La Hoya name, I ain't gonna say look bad, but he ain't doing it no favors, man. He ain't doing it no favors. I feel like what's next for Victor Morales, he's a good, I ain't gonna say good, he's a pretty decent featherweight contender. You got some dogs at featherweight. I like to see him in there with some, and really see how he is, because I honestly know a lot about Diego De La Hoya, so I'm not gonna put a lot of stake into that, what he just did, against Diego. But yeah, man, good job, Victor Morales. Diego De La Hoya, I don't know where he goes from here. Maybe he's he has to get his career back on the right track and see if this is even what he wants to do. He might retire after this fight. You know how losses take a toll on people. But let's see, man. Let's just see. If he doesn't retire, man, like I said, he got to get his career back on the right track. But good job, both fighters. All right, next fight I want to talk about. The main event, it was a 12-round contest at lightweight. Lightweight is 135 pounds. If you didn't know, it was William Zepeda versus Jaime Arboleda. William Zepeda was 27-0, 23 KOs, 26 years of age. Jaime Arboleda was 19-2, 14 KOs, 28 years of age. Zepeda was looking good this fight, and it was he outmatched Arboleda. He was no match for Zepeda. Zepeda was stalking him all night long, applying effective pressure as long as it lasted. a left hand to the body, dropped Arboleda in the second round. And this what I thought, I got it mixed up with the Diego De La Hoya knockout, because he ended up dropping Arboleda 2 more times, en route to a second round, and they both was body shots. All three knockdowns that William Zepeda put on Arboleda was body shots. So Arboleda has a weak body, to say the least, or William Zepeda got a hell of a body shot. Yeah, so second round KO win for William Zepeda. Getting that win, keeping his win streak alive, keeping his up. I feel like the sky's the limit for William Zepeda at, lightweight. Freaking, it's some beautiful, some amazing lightweights, though. So, lightweight might be the deepest division in boxing. So, yeah, he got his hands full, to say the least. But he is a talented, young man. And he's, I want to see him step his level of competition up and see how he does. But nonetheless, good job, William Zepeda, getting that win. All right, that was it for the card. For the boxing action that happened last weekend. Like I told you, it was a light weekend of boxing. It was only that one card, man. And these couple fights are the only fights that stood out to me on the card. Golden Boy doesn't have the deepest stable of boxers anymore. Yeah, so good job, everybody, on that card, man. All right, let's get to this upcoming weekend of boxing, man. Talk about some fights that's going to happen this Saturday, May 6th. All right, it's only one card that's going to transpire. The card is in Guadalajara, Jalisco, sorry about that, Mexico. It's a DAZN card. In this case, DAZN is a Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, all those guys. We got a couple title fights on the card. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into the main event first. It's a 12-round contest at middleweight. Middleweight is 160 pounds. If you didn't know, it's for the 168 undisputed titles. All 4 of them are on the line. Well, undisputed titles. All 4 of them are on the line. All right, let's get into it. Hold on. It's Canelo Alvarez versus John Ryder. Canelo Alvarez is 58-2, 2 draws, 39 KOs, 32 years of age. He's Orthodox style fighter. He stands at 5'8" with a 70.5-inch reach. He's from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. So this is a hometown fight for him. I think it's the first of his career, so it should be a fucking show. You got maybe the face of boxing, still with his losses, maybe the face of boxing, in his hometown. So it should be a show. His only loss, Canelo Alvarez, his only losses was to Floyd Mayweather and Dimitri Bivol a couple fights back, May 7th. Of 2022. So last year, let's see if he can, get a win this year on May 6th. All right. Canelo Alvarez is a 4-division champ. 154, 160, 175, and 168 pounds. He held a belt at every single one of them. Some weights he unified. In 168, he became undisputed champion, where he is currently. Yeah, man, like I said, he might be the face of boxing, man. Canelo Alvarez. His opponent, John Ryder. John Ryder is 32-5, 18 KOs, 34 years of age. He's a southpaw. He stands at 5'9" with a 72-inch reach from London. His losses came to Billy Joe Saunders, Rocky Fielding, Callum Smith, and a couple other fighters who I had no idea who the hell they was. So, yeah, I didn't put their name down. All right, but his last 2 fights have been better than those losses. His last, a couple fights ago, he beat Danny Jacobs when Danny Jacobs was 37-3, and that fight transpired February of 2022. His last fight, he beat Zach Parker when Zach Parker was 22-0. And that fight transpired in November of 2022. So, he beat Daniel Jacobs 2021. And he beat Parker 2022. All right, he's a big underdog in this fight. Freaking, can he shock the world, man? Let's see if John Ryder can shock the world. An upset, saw Canelo Alvarez. All right, quick thoughts and predictions on this fight. I feel like Canelo Alvarez is, taking a soft touch in his hometown, with no possible chance of a upset, Why would you do that in your hometown? He don't want a Dimitri Bivol incident to happen, So, yeah, I say it's going to be an easy night for Canelo Alvarez, I said a 5th round KO win for Saul Canelo Alvarez en route to that rematch with Dimitri Bivol. All right. Next fight I want to talk about on the card. It's a 12-round contest of flyweight. Flyweight is 112 pounds, if you didn't know. It's Julio Cesar Martinez and Ronald Batista. All right, it's for Martinez's WBC flyweight belt. Let's get into it. Julio Cesar Martinez is 19-2, 14 KOs, 28 years of age. He's Orthodox style fighter. He stands at 5'2" with a 64-inch reach. He's from Mexico City, Mexico. His first loss came in his first fight of his career, actually, versus a guy named Joaquin Cruz, who was 5-0. All right. Then a couple fights back, he actually lost to Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, who was 50-3 at the time they clashed. Roman beating by unanimous decision in that fight. He had actually Julio Cesar Martinez has actually moved up in weight in that fight, freaking trying to challenge greatness. But he did not succeed. As I stated, he lost that fight. His last fight, he actually moved back down to his original weight, where he got a majority decision win versus Samuel Cremona, who was 8-0, and that fight transpired December of 2022. All right, so he got back to his winning ways and got back to his original weight, which probably was a good idea. All right, and Julio Cesar Martinez is the WBC champ at flyweight, which he has been since 2019. Julio Cesar Martinez. Let's get to his opponent, Ronald Batista. Ronald Batista is 15-2, 9 KOs, 26 years of age. He's Orthodox style fighter, stands at 5'4", and he's from Panama City, Panama. And honestly, I've never heard of Ronald Batista. Yeah. Let's see what he has to offer, man, against the champ, Julio Cesar Martinez. Quick thoughts and predictions. I feel like Julio Cesar Martinez should get the job done against a guy who I never heard of. But I've never heard of him, so he can shock the world. But quick prediction, I say unanimous decision win for Julio Cesar Martinez, keeping his belt and keeping his winning ways alive. All right, next fight I want to talk about on the card. It's a 10-round contest at light heavyweight. Light heavyweight is 175 pounds. If you didn't know, it's Alexander Vostok versus Richard Bolanix. All right, Alexander Vostok is 18-1, 14 KOs, 36 years of age, so he's getting up there in age. He's Orthodox style fighter, stands at 6'2" with a 75.5-inch reach. He's from the Ukraine. Hold on. And honestly, I'm not sure, but I think he's still being trained by Teddy Ellis. We'll see this fight. His only loss, Alexander Vostok, came against Arthur Betterby when Arthur Betterby was 14-0, and that fight transpired October of 2019 in a battle of undefeated light heavyweights, man. And it was a showdown, man. It was probably fight of the year that year. Both fighters putting on the show. Alexander Vostok winning the fight. He was winning the fight until he wasn't. You know, he just couldn't take any more Better Beef's power. And I'll have to say that was probably Better Beef's hardest fight of his career, you know, with Bostic. But yeah, Bostic did lose that fight. And after he lost, he took a 3.5 year layoff, you know, from the sport. You know, probably contemplating retirement. Which I feel like he shouldn't have did, man. But you know, a loss kind of has that effect on people. But I feel like he had nothing to be ashamed of, man. He put it all on the line against the best. You know, he was one of the best, and he still is one of the best. People lose, man. It's boxing. You win, you lose. It is what it is. But I'm happy he decided to come back. Hopefully it's not too late, because he is 36 now. You know, yeah. His last fight, it was his first fight back. He was fighting a guy named Josue Obando, who was 20. He had 20 wins, 34 losses, and 2 draws. So he took a step back tremendously in that fight. And it was actually a 6-round contest that Bostic came back. You know, after a 3.5 year layoff, that's to be expected. But yeah, that was a tremendous step back after, you know, being on that championship level. So he's looking forward, you know, to get back on that championship level. And yeah, man, hopefully he could do that against his opponent, Richard Bolanix. Richard Bolanix is 19-6, 1 draw, 8 KOs. He's Orthodox style fighter, stands at 6'1". He's from Latvia. His last fight was a loss. His last loss was to Joshua Buatsi when Joshua Buatsi was 14-0. All right. I feel like Alexander Bostic should make easy work of Richard Bolanix. He has 6 losses on his record, as I stated. Alexander Bostic, man, he was one of them guys at the light heavyweight division. And I'm looking for him to come back, man, and throw his name back in the hat, man. I feel like he can be for sure, top 4 light heavyweight, man, with, you know, Better Beef, Bivol, maybe Zerto Ramirez, and him. The top 4, you know, light heavyweights. And they could, you know, go at it and see what it is, man. You gotta win, you gotta lose, man. Everybody ain't gonna win, everybody ain't gonna win all the time. You're gonna lose sometime. So I feel like that's just what that was, and he's gonna get back to his winning ways in this fight at a championship level, but not quite a championship level, en route to a championship level against Bolanix. I say a 6-round KO win for Alexander Bostic, getting back to his winning ways, man. All right. Next fight I want to talk about on the card. It's a 10-round contest. It's junior welterweight. Junior welterweight is 140 pounds. It's Gabriel Valenzuela versus Stevie Spark. Gabriel Valenzuela is 26-3, 1 draw, 16 KOs. He's 28 years of age. He's Orthodox style fighter. He stands at 5'10" with a 73-inch reach from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. So this is a hometown fight for him. His last loss came versus Montana Love, when Montana Love was 17-0 with 1 draw. Also, he lost against William Zepeda early on in his career when William Zepeda was 9-0. Yeah, he lost both of those fights by unanimous decisions. All right. He actually got TKO'd in a 4th-round fight, in a 4-round fight that I never heard. I was right. All right, in a 4th round by a fighter I never heard of in 2016, Luis Ramos, who was 4-0. All right, Gabriel Valenzuela. Let's get to his opponent, Stevie Spark. Stevie Spark is 16-2. 14 KOs, 26 years of age. He's Orthodox style fighter. He's from Queensland, Australia. He lost his 2nd fight of his pro career. Then lost to Tim Tszyu, July of 2021, when Tim Tszyu was 18-0. His last fight, he actually scored a 6-round DQ win versus Montana Love, when Love was 18-0 with one draw after he had beat Gabriel Valenzuela. You know, he came in a fight with Stevie Sparks and got upset in his hometown. After Montana Love decided to throw Stevie Sparks over the ropes, you know, in a bizarre showing, man, that I, hadn't really seen in boxing. But Montana Love was getting the hell beat out of him all night. So I feel like that was just an escape route, and he seen the back door and he crept out that motherfucker. And, yeah, gave Stevie Sparks that win in an upset. And, put his career back on track. And let's see if he can get this win versus Gabriel Valenzuela, man, which I feel he should be able to do, man. I seen that fight versus freaking, what's the nigga name? Montana Love. And it was a pretty smooth fight for Stevie Sparks, man. I like him. He's a pressure fighter. He's going to come forward. He has a lot of power. Yeah, man, I see him putting on for Australia in this fight. I say a quick prediction. I say a 9th round KO win for Steve Spark, getting that win. All right, that's what ain't it. But the rest of the undercard is pretty cool. Like I said, the zone undercard is gonna be the best, man, and this is no exception. Well, like I have said, Eddie Hearn's getting better at that, man. He is. The top 4 fights are pretty smooth, so I ain't gonna be too hard on him. All right, but that's it for this upcoming weekend of boxing, man. It's a pretty smooth weekend. It's only one card, but it's fucking Canelo Alvarez, even though he's not really challenging himself, I feel, in this fight, which I want to see him do. I want to see him go up against Dimitri Bivol, his next fight, hopefully, or give David Benavidez a shot, man, or anybody at 168, really, man. Who's the name? Charlo, Andre, anybody, but not John Ryder type fighters no more, man. You're Canelo fucking Alvarez, but you are coming off of injury, and and it's a hometown fight, so I give you a pass. No more passes after this, though, Canelo. But yeah, man, like I said, it's Canelo weekend in boxing, so it's a good weekend. But it's only one card. The undercard on this Canelo card is okay. Like I said, I want to see Alexander Vostok. I'm looking forward to seeing that fight, seeing what he has to offer. I have a lot of faith in him, and I like him. Freaking he's from the Ukraine. They have a lot of skills, and he's no exception, man. He has a lot of skills, so I'm looking forward to him, getting back to his career and doing what he do. Freaking it's a pretty smooth card, man. All right, let's get into other news. Freaking there really ain't too many topics that I want to touch on. Freaking one topic I do want to touch on though is Ryan Garcia has parted ways, man, from his trainer Joe Goossen. And also, he said he hasn't been in contact with Golden Boy at all regarding his future, so he don't know what the hell Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins talking about. And that's probably part of the reason he was by himself after that Javante fight, at the post-fight press conference to the neck, But yeah, man, he has parted ways with Joe Goossen. And honestly, it was a shocker to me, man. I thought him and Joe was having a lot of chemistry. He was talking very highly of Joe, in all his interviews. So yeah, it was a shocker. I don't really know why they were saying like he had a mole in his camp. Somebody saying that he got dropped to the body. I don't think Joe Goossen was saying that, but you never know. And I haven't got clarification on that incident, so I don't know why he actually fired Joe Goossen, man. If you know, slap it in the comments. But Joe Goossen and Ryan Garcia are no longer a team. All right, other news. Jamal Charlo says he's coming back soon and refocus, man, after a divorce from his high school sweetheart and a 2-year layoff on I Am Athlete, the Brandon Marshall show. Freaking he was on there with his brother. It was a very interesting episode, man. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I'm telling you, he was crying. It was a very touching episode, man. He really got into, what's been going on with him. I thought, he was suffering from CTE type shit, because it is boxing. And he has been getting hit a lot in his last couple fights, no lie. Especially when I went with Montiel, he was getting pretty heavy hit to the head. I mean, some pretty heavy blows to the head. But yeah, he was saying he don't have any mental, illnesses of that nature. He said he was just dealing with, life, and the hurdles that life throw at you. He said it was his high school sweetheart. He was, that's the only woman he's ever really loved like that. And for her to, in his words, betray him and, yeah, man, he said it took a lot out of him, and he's just been trying to regain focus, and, he has regained focus, and he said he wants to become undisputed. He's highly motivated from his brother, becoming undisputed. He said he wants to do the same thing, man, and this year you will see a new Jamal Charlo. And I'm looking forward to it, man, because I really, really like, Jamal Charlo. I always thought Jamal Charlo was the better of the two twins, man. And I always thought he was the more level-headed, because Jamal was like a fucking hothead. He'll pop off on anybody. I thought Jamal, he'll be calm. He's more cerebral, I thought. But these last couple of years, Jamal has been showing to be more cerebral, and Jamal has been showing to be the hothead. And, yeah, man, I just hope he gets his life back on track, man, and his boxing career back on track. All right. Also, I'm about to make a short about that Jamal Charlo interview, man, when he was, showing his emotions, being very vulnerable, man. So, yeah, man, go check it out if you can. And if you didn't know, I got a boatload of shorts, man, in my short section, on my channel. So go check them all out. It's kind of my specialty, man. The shorts be going kind of crazy, man. So go check them out if you haven't. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that shit, people. Rob's World of Boxing. Yeah.